caretaker. It's taken him about 3 hours. The directing staff give the coordinates for RV2, which will mean an 11-mile trek cross-country.
Gary Robertson, number 8 staff.
It was horribly clear the long drag was beginning to take its toll.
I just can feel it on the left shoulder, just completely numb.
If it goes completely numb, you've got to just stop for a while and let it come back, because otherwise you could, said you couldn't hurt yourself, you could.
No matter what state they're in, the clock is always running.
Certainly I'm going through my trying to work out whether I want to carry on or not.
Compared to real SAS selection times, some of the volunteers are already 2 hours behind.
I think I've known for about the last 15 minutes sitting there, I'm not carrying on.
Yeah,
just didn't want to admit it to myself.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Decision made.
Okay.
One of the men, medical student Henry, hasn't moved for 30 minutes.
In the past sort of mile and a half, just been unable to walk. Pretty frustrating, but I was doing really well and suddenly I sort of couldn't walk.
A few miles further on, and another man is down. Jason, the school caretaker, who was out in front. The hours before dawn are the hardest. It's cold, your energy is sapped, and just putting one foot in front of the other seems an almost impossible task. 2 more are down. Student Paul and teacher Steve were found disorientated and very weak by one of the directing staff. So concerned for their safety, he made them eat.
I think I'm gonna have to stop if I'm sensible. It's the right word.
With the clock against them, it's decision time for Paul and Steve. In stark contrast, Carl and IT manager Jonathan have already got to RV2. They had marched the 10 miles cross-country in 6 hours. It's 8 a.m. and in the last 2 days the volunteers have had an average of 3 hours sleep. They are about halfway through the allowed time for this exercise, but only a third of the way in distance. Sometime overnight, Sue and Louise have teamed up with Neil and Nick. However, they are somewhere behind Anna's group, who have already made it to RV2.
We found ourselves a leader, and then, well, she nominated herself basically because she was the best map reader.
I think I am just maybe more bossy than some of the others.
Sue and Louise's group have taken 7 hours, but have finally made it to RV2.
When your body's fatigued, my mind will start playing tricks.
I've been hallucinating actually. Rocks have become sheep and trees, windmills.
The only reason I foresee myself not carrying on the 10 days is, one, if I injure myself and I physically can't carry on, and 2, if one of the SAS guys say, no, you failed that, out, but I physically won't turn around and say to the chap I want to stop. They're going to have to physically remove me off the mountain.
The bottom line is you've really got to believe in yourself. You know, I can do this in spite of these bastards. I can do it. They're not going to crack me, and I want to do it, and I want to do it for whatever reason it is.
These are miles behind time. You want to succeed here, you've got to get your gear together, get your shit together, and start motoring. You've got to get a move on.
Neil, Julie, and amazingly Paul and Steve, who almost gave up in the early hours, have made it past RV2. Neil, a prison officer, left the group soon after, and then headed off alone, eventually getting lost on the hills. Steve and Julie had stopped. Late in the day, it's time for reflection. This leaves Paul to find RV3 by himself. This is where everyone is heading, the elusive RV3. First in had been Carl. It had taken him an amazing 3 hours. As the rest of the front runners followed, it was clear that the back markers are some 7 hours behind. For safety, As the volunteers get to RV3, they're held, pending further instructions. 5 hours behind the leaders are Anna's group.
Right, you hold it there, see that space on your right, okay? If you form up there, and then come to me one at a time. 24.5.
In SAS selection, the directing staff perform spot checks on Bergens in case anyone has dropped weight. Our volunteers get no less.
Will you stop fanning around and get up here now? One of you, I don't care who it is.
Well, you know what's happened there?
What's happened?
I think I injured my shoulder.
Really?
And I did technically give up, but I really want to finish course. It has been picked up in the middle of the road, so I checked 2 brakes out.
One of the groups falling way behind is Louise and Suze. Dr. Mike Stroud is dispatched to check on them.
What's the problem?
When did you get hit just now?
Yeah.
For you, you know, the fact is that there's a climb there, and you're feeling like shit if they're saying technical medical service.
I think I better go back with them.
Come on. You ain't quit. You ain't quit yet. You ain't quit this fast. Come on. I think it's up there. Yeah? Let's do it. I think it's up there. Come on, we're going out there.
Come on. Okay,
So you want to go?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Come on. That's it. That's what it's about. Come on then. Let's not mess the boat. We ain't got time to mess the boat.
What is interesting, I think, is that perhaps for some of them, for the first time in their life, they're realising the importance of supporting each other, and that's interesting to see.
We won't leave her, but we'll still want to finish it. There's a 3.
Yeah. He'll be safe.
Yeah.
I think she'd have been terribly disappointed in a day's time, or even when she got back in the helicopter, she didn't give it a shot to finish it.
It's been like, I feel like such a team, and they've kept me going.
The question is, has Sue's ongoing illness jeopardized her team?
This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun. This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun. Right, stop there. First of all, you are nearly 6 hours behind the lead runner, which means you are out of time, gentlemen. So your little show is a bit naff, to say it mildly, isn't it?
What's going on there? A little bit harsh?
No, basically, the last 3 that came in got in a straight line, advanced down the road singing an American Army marching song. It's a stupid, childish behaviour. In the regiment, Special Air Service, the last thing we want is people with the mentality of a 5-year-old.
Unbeknown to those still out on the hills, RV3 was now the end of Long Drag. For those who had made it this far, their suffering was to be continued.
You take your rucksacks off, take all your clothes except your underwear off, put it inside your rucksack, that includes your belt kit, everything except your rifle. When one comes down here, you be first, the one comes down here, as soon as they move off, you start stripping, okay? Okay, as soon as he's halfway through, you start stripping. On a steady stream going through this water, okay? You got no underwear? Swim in your trousers, okay? Your waterproof parcel with your rucksack in is your flotation aid. You'll be going across with your flotation aid and your rifle on the top. We have a safety rope aligned across there. Do not try to grab it unless you're in serious trouble. Do not drop these rifles in the water. Okay? That means we're bringing divers to get the bastards out. Go. Stand up, stand up.
After what can only be described as a monumental 24 hours, everyone has returned to base camp. It's now time to find out who stays and who's on the truck back home.
Okay, listen in. Dismissals.